When your baby cries in the middle of the night and you wait outside the door because a book told you to teach them independence, they will eventually go quiet. But here is the scientific warning. Their brain has not calmed down. Their stress hormone, cortisol, is spiking so high that it is physically altering the architecture of their developing brain. Welcome back to Love and Littles. I'm Lynn. Today, we are breaking down the completely normal, widely accepted things that loving parents do every single day. Things that are actually hurting our babies' nervous systems. And honestly, none of this is your fault. Let's stay on that first point for a second. Ignoring your baby's cries. Frank used to say, just let them cry it out. They need to learn to self-soothe. And I get it. When you are exhausted, you think, maybe they'll you just hope they settle. But babies do not have the neurological capacity to self-regulate. They just don't. They have to borrow your nervous system to calm down. So when no one comes, they don't learn independence. They learn that the world is not safe. So, which leads right into another thing we do to avoid crying: sudden separations. You need to leave for work, so you just sneak out. Actually, I used to do this all the time because someone told me it avoids the drama, right? But to a baby's nervous system, this is alarming. The person they are most anchored to just vanished. No warning, gone. It doesn't reduce their crying, it teaches them they have to stay hyper-vigilant because the people they love can just disappear. And speaking of things that happen when we're exhausted, let's talk about your voice. This one is so subtle that most of us don't even realize we are doing it. Think about it. You've had a brutal day. You pick up your baby. For me, Georgia is doing this right now. She's teething. So I pick her up and I say the right words. Okay, sweetie, you're fine. I'm here. But my tone, it's completely tight. It's tense. Researchers at the University of Oregon found that babies as young as 6 months old show stress responses when they hear a tense adult voice, even if they are completely asleep. Asleep! They don't understand your loving words. They feel your tone. And to them, a tense tone means the person keeping me alive is dysregulated. Therefore, I am in danger. It's almost unfair, right? Because you're trying so hard to keep it together. But here is another extremely common thing we do with our words: dismissing their reality. Your baby is crying because, I don't know, they can't reach a toy, and your instinctive response is to say, you're okay, stop crying, you're fine. Actually, wait, the phrase, you're fine, is probably the most used sentence in parenting. Seriously, but when you say you're fine and their body feels like the world is ending, you create a gap. Over time, that gap teaches them that their internal experience is wrong. It is the earliest seed of emotional dysregulation. You don't have to fix their feelings. You just have to see them. That's the whole secret. We need to talk about your face and what happens when it goes blank. You're on the floor with them and you check your phone, just for a second. To your baby, you just became neurologically unavailable. In psychology, there's a famous study called the still face experiment. Researchers had mothers interact normally and then suddenly drop all expression. Within seconds, the babies panicked. They tried everything to get their mother's attention back, and when it didn't work, they collapsed inward. Their stress levels skyrocketed. When you scroll on your phone, you become a still-faced parent. Your face is their emotional mirror. It tells them if the world is safe. When that mirror goes blank repeatedly throughout the day, it registers deeply. But it's not just about what we take away, it's about what we add too much of. Let me tell you about when Kimberly was little, my oldest. I thought I had to give her everything: flashing baby gyms, loud musical toys, sensory bins, constant talking. And when she would turn her head away and start to fuss, I would get closer and say, "Look at this." I was totally ignoring her boundaries. Seriously, babies use gaze aversion, looking away, to say, I am overwhelmed, I need a break. When we force interaction, when we push past that boundary, we are teaching them that their no will be overridden by the people who are supposed to protect them. They don't need more stimulation, they usually need dimness, quiet, less. And that brings us to the last point, the one that feels the heaviest. Parental emotional unavailability. You are physically there, you are feeding them, changing them, holding them, but internally, you are somewhere else, grieving, anxious, depressed, just completely overwhelmed. Babies don't just receive your actions, they receive your emotional state. And if you are sitting there right now, watching this, and feeling a tight knot in your stomach, thinking about the times you looked at your phone, or used a tense voice, or sneaked out of the house, please take a breath. That knot in your stomach, that is not guilt. That softly, that is attunement. That is the exact quality that makes you a phenomenal parent. The fact that you care enough to ask, am I missing something? That is everything. You do not need to be a perfect parent. In fact, research proves you shouldn't be. Donald Winnicott, a famous pediatrician, coined the term the good enough parent. A good enough parent is someone who messes up, who gets distracted, who loses their patience. But, and this is the entire secret to early childhood development, they notice the disconnect and they return. The moments of disconnection aren't what shape your baby. It is the repair that shapes them. The, I'm here now, I see you, I'm sorry. That is the architecture of secure attachment, not perfection, repair. The most powerful thing you can do for your baby isn't buying a better toy, it's taking care of your own nervous system. Because when you take a breath, your baby feels it. If this video gave you a single aha moment, please hit subscribe to Love and Our Littles. Share this with a parent who is trying their absolute best but feeling like they are failing. You are enough. I'll see you in the next one.